Why do we sit here being silent, watching our leaders turn into tyrants? Have they forgotten which side they're fighting for? Checks and balances set aside and rule of laws, youth and ours, and Constitution openly ignored. Man, I'm not okay. Think we are being played. Is it time for right and left to join a greater cause? Man, I'm not okay. The rich claim to be victimized just to attack the marginalized. Is 1% really worth more than all the sick and poor? Always preaching about fellowship while planning their dictatorship. Now we've seen how all of this plays out before. Man, I'm not okay. Think we are being played. Time for you and I to join our country's call. Man, I'm not okay. Ever wonder all the mystery, why they whitewash our history? Keep dividing is their plan. All in all, such a scam. Algorithm very sly, only used to spread the lies. Politicians know well, hate is simple to upsell. Man, I'm not okay. Think we are being played. Time for you and I to join our country's call.
America, we gotta get back to doing what's expected of us as free citizens in this democracy. That means being tolerant, being respectful, staying informed, and being engaged. I'm former Congressman Joe Walsh. Follow me here and join the millions of Americans who are renewing their social contract with each other. The social contract, it's on us. Hey, we may not be okay welcome this Tuesday, but we've just about survived 2025. Welcome all. This is former Congressman Joe Walsh. I hope you're doing well this Tuesday, the day before New Year's Eve day. We will not have a show tomorrow, and obviously not a show on New Year's Day. We'll be back with you on Friday. As this difficult year comes to a close, and I look, I can be a lot funnier than I let on, and when I don't have a camera in front of me, and I'm just out there drinking my tequila and hanging with my dogs and shooting the shit with friends, I can be funny. My wife says I'm very funny. I don't lead with that. And I know when it comes to Trump, and I know when it comes to what's happening in America right now, there are great, smart, clever people, way smarter than me, way more funnier than me, way more clever than me, who can just take shots at Trump and take shots at what's going on with a sense of humor, with a good biting sense of humor, and even make light of it all. And I don't mean that negatively. I just can't do that. This fucking horrible human being, this psychopath, we put back in power. And I grab my microphone every day. I go on TV every day. I go on the radio every day. I write every day. And I can only lead with righteous anger. I wish I could do a better job of leading with more humor and bringing a more well-rounded approach to what I do every day. But I am genuinely afraid for this country I love. We don't have a long time on this earth. And I can only display how righteously angry I am at what's happening right now to this country I love. And so I apologize if I'm pretty one-dimensional. If you tune into me, because every day you're going to get fire and brimstone, you're going to get righteous anger, you're going to get pissed off Joe Walsh at what, and not just pissed off at Trump, not just pissed off at, my God, the hundreds of idiotic, stupid, lawless, corrupt, psychopathic things, ignorant things, dishonest things he does every day, but get righteously angry at us as a people, righteously angry at the institution of Congress, righteously angry at my former political party, righteously angry at my former colleagues in right-wing media who all sold their souls to stay relevant. I apologize if I'm a Johnny One Note and I just lead with my righteous anger, but that's, life is short, and that's all I know how to do right now. And it's interesting how we all react. My fatal flaw as a politician was to just tell you what I believed, to tell you what's in my heart, what's in my head, and what's in my heart. And as 2025 comes to a close, I am where I've always been. I fear that this country I love, this country, by the way, we all love. All of you listening to me right now who disagree with what I say every day, I don't question your love for this country. But as this year comes to a close, I generally fear and worry that this country, this democracy, this unique experiment in self-governance and freedom cannot and will not last. I worry our democracy will not be preserved. I genuinely do. I worry that these 50 states can't and won't stay together. I genuinely do. I worry that the rule of law has gone by the wayside. I genuinely worry that the American people may never know again an independent Justice Department. Young Americans growing up in the age of Trump, young Americans who weren't even old enough to vote for Obama, all they know is Trump. All they know is these past 11 years. All they know when it comes to our Justice Department now is that the Attorney General works for the president. The Attorney General is the president's lawyer. I worry that we may never, ever, ever get back an independent Justice Department. I genuinely worry about these things every single day. And so as this year comes to a close, I say what I believe. This is what America looks like right now with a fascist in the White House. What we've seen this past year is what America looks like without a legislative branch. Think about that. This is what America looks like without an independent Congress. We've had that for a year. This is what America looks like with the judicial branch utterly overwhelmed. This is what America looks like with a corrupt, lawless individual in the White House. Our founders were brilliant men. They gave us a system of self-governance, brilliant. But I genuinely worry as this year comes to a close that our founders didn't sufficiently envision how easy it would be for an utterly corrupt, lawless, ignorant, dishonest, authoritarian person to obliterate the brilliant system of checks and balances and separation of powers and all the rest that they put into place. So I genuinely wonder, oh my God, if we can survive Trump, are we going to have to build upon what our founders did for us to ensure that our system, our constitutional republic, can handle a bad person who just doesn't give a fuck? I mean, like our founders couldn't envision that the American people would put someone in the White House who just didn't give a fuck about the rule of law, didn't give a fuck about the Constitution, didn't give a fuck about election results, didn't give a fuck about public corruption, did not give a fuck about democracy, didn't give a fuck about the truth. And we're a year into this. Sorry, Keith, I completely forgot where I was going. But let me reverse what I was going to get into today. And this won't be a long show, but I'll start then with, because I went off on that tangent, welcome this Tuesday. And again, I hope you're all having a relaxing week. Former Congressman Joe Walsh with you. Former. Every interview I do these days, it's former. Hey, let me welcome former Congressman Joe Walsh, former Republican Joe Walsh, former presidential candidate Joe Walsh, former right-wing media guy Joe Walsh. My God, my life is, I'm just a former. I'm a former everything. That's how I'm introduced these days. So let me start at the end. Something to think about. Let me give you one reflection. People on the left and the right. I'm about to say something that I don't think any of you will sufficiently like or appreciate, but I want you all to think about it. Kind of an end of the year reflection on Trump, on where we are. It's not complicated. We elected the absolute worst of us. We elected an utterly horrible human being. That is what I said right there, something that damn near every American, if they're honest, can agree with. We elected Donald Trump in November of 2024. He is the absolute worst of us. He's an utterly horrible human being. Up to that point, we can all generally agree with that. People on the left, people who oppose Trump, have always struggled acknowledging the truth of why we elected him. Too many Democrats still don't understand it. Too many people on the left still are in denial, don't get how could this great, good, decent country put into power twice the absolute worst of us. The left, Democrats, my new party, people who oppose Trump still struggle acknowledging that truth. Why? Why did Trump get elected? Why did he get elected the second time? What does that say about the Democratic Party? What does that say about the American people? What does that say about our broken political system? All the rest. The left struggles to acknowledge why Trump got elected. The right, the MAGA right, they still struggle to acknowledge the truth about what an utterly horrible human being Trump is. They still, the right, the MAGA right, struggles to acknowledge the truth that Donald Trump is the absolute worst of us. They'll take it. They won, man. And doesn't matter. But when we all have a blind spot, and I want us all to think about this. I want left and right to think about this. The left's blind spot is, how the fuck did Trump get elected again? Why did Trump win? The left still struggles with that. The right struggles with Trump's a horrible human being, and the right just cannot acknowledge that. The right just refuses to admit that. They take everything that comes with Trump, but they will not acknowledge he's one of the worst human beings who's ever lived. That's their blind spot. So as this year comes to a close, I just would ask every American to reflect upon where you fit there. You're a Trump supporter. You can't stand Trump. You each got a blind spot. You Trump supporters, shame on you. You just can't be honest enough and admit, right? Like you get why Trump won. You understand it, but he's a bad guy. He's a horrible guy. And you just don't have the guts, my MAGA brothers and sisters, to admit that. And my brothers and sisters on the left, you still don't get the truth of why he won. How could this country put him in power again? You're in denial on that, and you grab too easily to things like racism and bigotry, and you go after Trump supporters instead of really doing the hard, tough, difficult work of figuring out why this utterly horrible human being is back in power and what we need to do, change, what you, my friends on the left, need to do, change, and fix to make sure that never happens again. I hope you reflect upon that. Hey, two quick items here. So this just, and I'll lead like this, Keith. Hey, MAGA, quit fucking whining. Quit complaining. Sometimes, my MAGA brothers and sisters, you all are the biggest babies, and it makes sense. Like I love my MAGA brothers and sisters. As a rule, I will criticize Trump. I will criticize all of Trump's media sycophants and elected Republican sycophants. When it comes to Trump voters, I do my best, my level best, not to criticize them because I was a Trump voter at one time. But Trump voters can too easily be babies and whine and complain about how their dear leader is treated. It makes sense because the biggest crybaby in the history of the world is Donald Trump, their dear leader. I mean, if Trump couldn't play the victim, he'd wither away and die. That's been his secret sauce forever. This whole Kennedy Center thing. So Trump, a couple weeks ago, announces he's going to change the name of the Kennedy Center and make it the Trump Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts. He changes the name illegally. Want to say that again? Illegally. He was not, like so much of what he's done, he didn't have the authority to do it. Trump went ahead and did it. And then, dadgummit, he put his name on the building, the Donald J. Trump Kennedy Center. Just put it, the Trump Kennedy Center. And from the moment Trump did that illegally, performers scheduled to perform at the Kennedy Center have been canceling left and right. I don't know, Keith, if we have one of the headlines, the latest, the entire New Year's Eve celebration at the Kennedy Center was canceled last night. Why? All the performers are boycotting. The Cookers, I'd never heard of the Cookers, a jazz supergroup. They pulled out last night, and like that was the final straw. So the entire New Year's Eve celebration at the Kennedy Center is now called off because nobody wants to perform. All the bands and all the groups have said, no, we won't because of what Trump did, because Trump illegally put his name on the Kennedy Center. And boy, oh boy, this has just caused Trump and Trump's cheerleaders and MAGA to scream how unfair. The Cookers, the jazz group, put out a great statement, generally just talking about how jazz was born from struggle and from a relentless insistence on freedom. One band member, though, saxophonist Billy Harper, he was less restrained in what he said. He said, "I'd never consider performing in a venue bearing that name, that Trump name, and the overt racism it represents." Richard Grinnell, he's the Kennedy Center president. He took a shot at everybody boycotting. But what happened last night, the New Year's Eve celebration is now canceled. I mean, from the moment Trump illegally changed the name of the Kennedy Center, performer after performer have been pulling out. Jazz musician Chuck Reed, white folk singer Christy Lee, Rhiannon Giddens, comedian Issa Rae, on and on and on the list goes. Ticket sales to the Kennedy Center are way, way down, and damn near every performer is canceling. And Trump world is crying and screaming. To which I say, fuck yeah. This is the resistance at work. By the way, this is the market at work. By the way, this is the First Amendment at work. These are private Americans, the performers, the people who bought tickets and then tore their tickets up, the people who were scheduled to perform, all of these people individually saying, we're going to protest, we're going to boycott, we want nothing to do with what Trump did to the Kennedy Center. These are all private individuals, private Americans exercising their First Amendment rights to protest, to boycott, to speak. And they're doing it. So at one level, this is the First Amendment at work. This is the market at work. More importantly, so grow up, MAGA. More importantly, this is the resistance at work. Man, from the time Trump got sworn in almost a year ago, and he just began, right, his daily bombardment, shredding of the Constitution, of the rule of law, of democracy, of separation of powers, of checks and balances, everything, just the abject cruelty every single fucking day for this past year that Donald Trump engaged in. So, right, a fascist in the White House, a strong man in the White House, and so many people bending their knee to him. The story of this year of 2025 is this is what America looks like if we had a fascist in the White House. And fascism thrives when people cave to fascists, when people bend their knee to fascists, when people enable fascists. And a big part of this year has been law firms and universities and big tech companies and corporate CEOs and media people, and a left and right caving to Trump as he threatened to fire people, as he threatened to abuse the powers of his office, as he threatened to prosecute people, as fascists do. Use the powers of government to go after people. That should never happen in America, but it has been allowed to happen because so many people bent their knee to him. So many people settled with Trump, laid down to Trump, gave in to Trump. And this has done nothing but embolden and enable and strengthen the fascist in the White House. So when we see things like this, principled Americans resisting, musicians, comedians, scheduled to do gigs at the Kennedy Center and turning that down, walking away from those performances, walking away from that income to stand up to a fascist, man, that's got to be applauded. the cookers, all of these groups, all of these performers, they need to be applauded. This is what the resistance looks like. This is how we defeat fascism. We risk it all and stand up to him. And there have been plenty of examples of it this year. But that's what's going on here at the Kennedy Center. Donald Trump did another fascist thing. He illegally and without the authority changed the name of the Kennedy Center. You can lay down to that. You can just say, oh, Joe, it's just the name on a building. You can give in to that. These performers didn't. Everybody who had bought a ticket and then tore up their ticket, they didn't. They resisted. They stood up to him. And now the Kennedy Center right now is a fucking joke. Nobody will perform, and their ticket sales, what's below in the toilet are like in the pipes below the toilet. The Kennedy Center may turn their lights off because Donald Trump decided unilaterally to put his name on it. The Kennedy Center may be forced to turn their lights off. You know why? Because people stood up to him. Praise Jesus, all these performers who are boycotting and protesting and resisting. And by the way, that reminds me of one other thing. Keith, you've got that tweet of mine about the ballroom. Thank you, my friend. I haven't, but I try to post this every single day on every single social media platform and Substack. I started this a month and a half ago, maybe 2 months ago. I will repeat this every single day for the next 3 years. Any Democrat running for president in 2028 must pledge to immediately tear down, bulldoze, demolish Trump's ballroom and fully restore the East Wing and any other piece of the people's house Trump has or will destroy. Keep that up for a sec, Keith. I try to post this every single day because I mean it. When that guy's out of office, every fucking building, every fucking statue, everything, everywhere his name is, that name's got to come down. But I'm serious about this. He's building a ballroom 3 times the size of the White House. He's already torn down 1/3 of the White House. Any Democrat running for president in 2028, I say this as a new Democrat, I ain't supporting a Democrat who will not pledge that they will tear down Trump's ballroom. They'll demolish it. They'll raise the private money to do it. That'll be the easiest private money to raise. But I mean this. This is important. This is where we make a stand. Trump does not have the authority to build a ballroom. He did not have the authority to tear down the East Wing. And if we don't stand up against a fascist who would destroy our house, not his house, our house, then we deserve everything this fascist has done to us and will do to us. I am adamant about this. Thanks, Keith. We make a stand here on this fucking ballroom. It's easy for the next Democratic president to yank his name off of the Kennedy Center and everywhere else, and all these fucking Navy ships that he wants to put his name on. That's easy. The rubber hits the road when we're talking about his ballroom, because the next Democratic president's going to be sworn in, and there's going to be a fucking palace on the grounds of the People's House, 3 times the size of the People's House. We don't have palaces in America. We don't. And I can't fathom or imagine a Democratic president conducting his presidency with a fucking palace on the grounds of the White House. It needs to come down. And any Democrat running for president needs to pledge that it will come down at whatever cost. It's beyond symbolic. We have a fascist in the White House. His fucking ballroom will be the most concrete example of his fascism. That's why it needs to come down. I'm so serious about this. If no Democrat pledges to do this, if no Democrat run for president pledges to do this, fuck it. I'm going to run for president as a Democrat and pledge to do it. Final thought today. I'm going to play a video here for you in a second. Not yet. It's about a 30-second video of an event that took place in Minnetonka, Minnesota at the Ridgedale Library. Before I play this video right now, I want you to know this and remember this. We get to choose what kind of country we want to be. We must choose what kind of country we want to be. Take a look at this video. Count them, 50 ICE agents, 50 masked ICE agents in a library in Minnetonka, Minnesota the other day, arresting one individual. You saw him walk by in that white t-shirt. Keith, can you play that one more time from the start? We get to decide what kind of country we want to be. One guy right there, 50 fucking ICE agents in a library, in a public library in Minnesota, 50 detaining one individual. Don't know a thing about that individual. Don't know if he's an American citizen. Don't know a damn thing about him. Don't know if he's in this country legally or illegally. 50 masked thugs in a public library detaining one individual. Is this what you want America to be? Thanks, Keith. Is this what you want America to be? You have to decide as this year comes to a close. You get to decide as 2025 comes to a close. Fuck it. You must decide as we are about to enter 2026 and get that much closer to the 2026 midterm elections. I've said from the beginning that no issue in this country more than this issue, what Trump and his mass federal agents are doing to immigrants in this country, no issue, I believe, will galvanize the American people more than this. The cruelty, the un-American cruelty, the unconstitutional cruelty. 50 masked agents in a public library detaining one individual. What kind of an America do you want to be? Do you want this to be America? And by the way, we need to fight back against ICE lawfully, constitutionally. So much of what they do is unlawful. So much of what they do is unconstitutional. They've arrested hundreds of protesters and then drop charges on all of them. They are wantonly and routinely arresting protesters, people filming them, people shouting at them in neighborhoods on streets, and then they drop the charges. That's all illegal. That's all unconstitutional. So many Americans, not just the immigrants themselves who are targeted and terrorized by ICE, so many Americans do not know what their constitutional rights are when it comes to what ICE is doing. That's, by the way, what Paxis is all about. Again, I shout on this every single day because I believe in it every single day. The short of it is this: we've built an app to help every American, but most especially every immigrant targeted by ICE. It's a Know Your Rights app. It's an app that every immigrant in this country and every member of an immigrant's family in this country can go to immediately to find out what your rights are, what you can say, what you can't say when ICE knocks on your door, when ICE tries to pull you out of your car, when ICE walks into a restaurant and tries to nab you, what you can and cannot do, how to lawfully and legally fight back against what ICE is doing. And all of the rest of us who are part of this, who want to help our immigrant brothers and sisters, who want to film what ICE is doing, who want to follow what ICE is doing. We built an app, a Know Your Rights app. And we are raising money to begin to get this app into the hands of the folks who need it, beginning in January of 2026. This next month, you can help us get there. Go to right there, Paxis.app. We're crowdfunding the raising of the money for this app because Trump is going after and threatening CEOs of Apple and tech companies if they even think about doing something like this. He's trying to prosecute them and threaten them. We're going to have tens of thousands of Americans contributing to this app, crowdfunding for this app on our GoFundMe page. Trump can't come after thousands of us. He can't come after tens of thousands of us. That's why we're crowdfunding, how we raise the money for this app to get it into the hands of the folks who need it. So support us, be part of this American solution. We want the American people to own this app. Go to Paxis.app. Paxis.app. That's the GoFundMe link. Read about it, give what you can, and share that link with everyone you know. Thank you, Paxis.app. My Substack, folks, for everybody who doesn't yet know, Social Contract with Joe Walsh, .substack.com. Everything I do, everything I say, everything I write, everything I think is on the Substack. If you're looking for a way to support this voice of mine and help keep this voice of mine out there before the year's out, think about becoming a subscriber. Social Contract with Joe Walsh.substack.com. You want to shoot me an email about anything, gang, please do. The Social Contract with Joe Walsh, all one word, at gmail.com. The Social Contract with Joe Walsh at gmail.com. We'll be putting out some Substack stuff over the course of the next couple of days. I will see you all next on this show on Friday. Have a good, safe, relaxing, meaningful New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. Thanks for listening, everybody. Be brave.
Thank you for listening. Remember to listen, follow, and share The Social Contract with Joe Walsh on Apple, Spotify. Plus, don't forget to subscribe to The Social Contract on Substack. This has been The Social Contract with Joe Walsh.